One of the biggest challenges of racing on dirt compared to asphalt is keeping the grill clean. That way you can have fresh air going to the radiator to keep the engine from overheating. It's up to the teams how they choose to do that. This team uses change to try to act as a windshield wiper effect to keep the mud from clogging up the grill. The biggest change, however, is the grabber tire from General Tire. You can see it's got the tread in it to get a good bite up off of the corner for these long straightaways here at the Springfield Mile. Now, the championship contenders have varying experience, and they also have an awful lot on the line. And here's what they had to say.
Oh, yeah, I mean, for sure, coming here last year helped quite a bit. There at the beginning of practice, I kind of just fell right back where I was last year, and racing dirt growing up always helps too. So I'm a lot more comfortable on dirt than I think I am asphalt, where a lot of these guys are more comfortable on asphalt. So this is for sure what I've been looking forward to all year. I love this race, and just looking forward to see what we can do today.
All I know is I'm having a ton of fun. I think I'm like 4th or something, so better than I honestly thought. But we're chasing Sheldon. I got behind him in practice, learned some things. It's gonna be 100 laps of just trying to stay alive. Really, I know he's the fast one right now, so he's got to worry about the one making the mistakes.
Zane Smith was 4th in practice, but 2nd in qualifying. Sheldon Green, the point leader, lines up 5th. But how about this guy? Incredible. South Carolina's Gus Dean on the pole for this one. He won the General Tire Pole Award a little earlier on today with a great qualifying lap around the Springfield Mile, his 2nd consecutive General Tire Pole Award here in the ARCA Racing Series.
And he wasn't on the rail. He was moving up a groove. I like to see that we might have 2 group racing today, Bob.
We'll be right back here to Springfield. Back live here today in Springfield, Illinois, the Allen Crow 100. And here are some of the keys to the race, brought to you by, of course, General Tire. But, Jim, what are those keys?
They put some water down after the last session. It's a key to keep the nose clean today. Also, this track surface will slick off. We want to get it widened out, but that'll come at a price. We want to see how that ever-changing track surface will determine what these crew chiefs do when they change these General Tire grabber tires. And also these restarts, you could lose 10, 12, 14 car lengths by not having a crisp restart by the time you hit the backstretch.
And we all know that the inside groove is the place to be around the Springfield dirt. Next time by, we will go green flag for 100 laps here today. On the front row, Gus Dean and Zane Smith. You'll be able to see where your favorite driver is starting through the ticker that will provide you at the top of the screen. But today is going to be a blast and a lot of anxiousness for every single driver in today's starting lineup.
The worries at the outset of the day, because we loaded in this morning, we got a 1 hour practice in, an hour later we qualified, and an hour and a half later we're lining them up to race here at Springfield. Zane Smith has never been on the dirt track in a stock car in his life, and he had almost won the pole position today.
A lot of moisture this week here in Springfield, Illinois, has changed the track surface to what these guys don't normally expect. But we're green flag racing on the dirt for the first time in 2018.
By rule, the teams are staying in line until they reach the start-finish line. Nice job there, but fanning out early to get every bit of position on a restart is going to be critical all day long, and Smith has the advantage.
So many stories in today's race. Zane Smith, a former off-road racer, converted to the circle track scene. But how about the guy that has moved up into that 2nd spot right now? The number 20 for Venturini Motorsports, USAC and Power Eye open wheel standout, Logan Seavey.
He got the call, and no doubt he backed up the reason why at Eldora in the truck race where he led all those laps in the Cowboys Motorsports truck. His first ever start in a stock car on a track this big, the biggest track prior to this, Knoxville Raceway for that young man.
You see where Chase Purdy was just a second ago on the outside of Sheldon Green. You don't want to be there. Chase Purdy got a little bit sideways coming off the corner. This is not like a dirt late model or a sprint car or whatever you may say on the dirt that you normally see on the weekly tracks. You want to keep these ARCA stock cars as straight as possible.
And I've been watching Gus Dean try to do just that. He's position here. He's in the green cooling. Baker's distributing number 32 on the outside. He's led us to the green flag, but here he is now trying to fight for position with Chase Purdy, another first timer on the dirt. making it look easy on the bottom as Gus now tucks in line finally.
Behind Gus Dean, a guy with a lot of experience, especially around this area on the dirt. A multi-time winner of the dirt late model scene this year. In fact, he won a big $10,000 to win show at Tri-Cities Speedway. Ryan Unzicker in that 24. He finished third a couple of years ago here in ARCA.
And this team is so pumped up. Ryan's behind the wheel for the 8th time for Bill Hendren. It's Bill's 44th time in the Springfield Mile fielding a stock car. And Jeff McClure has that car dialed in. Crew chief, a veteran driver, and now crew chief in the ARCA Racing Series in the 24 game.
Up front, Logan Seavey starting to hound Zane Smith, starting to apply that pressure a little bit. And the interesting thing as we watch practice is we talked about the different levels of experience in dirt racing. Zane Smith, very few laps on dirt, at least in the form of oval track racing, a few laps on Millbridge Speedway, and an outlaw kart in Salisbury, North Carolina, but this is his first time in a stock car. On the other hand, even though it's his first time in a stock car on the dirt, Logan Seavey, he ran the truck race, but in an actual car, Logan Seavey's got all that experience from different forms of open wheel racing, and he runs a completely different line than do some of the pavement guys.
Yeah, Logan Seavey said that he overdrove turn 1 in practice. The track had a lot of grip then. It wasn't nearly black and slick like it is now. He said, I overdrove the corner, but the car stuck. I think I have something to prove that I don't have to follow these guys. I'm going to start following the line. I think it'll work in these big ass stock cars.
Sheldon Green being very strong. Aggressive moves by Sheldon Green to try to catch the top pair early on in this race. And Sheldon and that team told me his mindset is one thing today. Even though he wants that championship, he's got that big 165-point lead. He's come up short on 2 straight years here at Springfield. He won't accept anything but a win today.
And you know what about Sheldon? He has asked me, we going dirt racing yet? About the last 7 races in a row. He's like, man, I can't wait for the dirt.
A little love tap from Christian Eckes in the 15 to the 77 of Joe Graf Jr. Eckes trying to move into the 8th spot now on the racetrack, and he continues to apply the old chrome horn right to the 77, and that opens up the door. He's on the inside.
Joe Graf, another one of the drivers, making his first ever start on the dirt. Eckes last year ran to 6th in a very competitive run. His crew chief that day, Jeff McClure. His car was fielded by Venture Motorsports and Kevin Reed as crew chief this year. That team's done nothing but excel with 4 victories on the season.
So many stories here today. Christian Eckes certainly one of them, and only his 2nd time on the dirt. You look at Joe Graf Jr., his first time, as you mentioned. He said the first time I went out there today, it felt like I was driving on snow. Remember, the kid's from New Jersey. He knows a thing or two about driving on snow. This is the JBL onboard camera for Christian Eckes. Only 8 laps into this one. But here's an unbelievable story. If you look at the 25 car of Natalie Decker, she has been very impressive so far this year. She comes into this race 6th in the point standing, but she did not get here until 10 minutes prior to qualifying. She is the Scott Rookie Spotlight in this race, and she missed all the practice today because she missed her connecting flight in Dallas-Fort Worth last night.
The flight was canceled. She had no option. She got a flight here. She climbed in the car at 11:04. Qualifying started at 11, so she got in time to qualify. But her crew chief, 10-time Frank Kimmel, 8-time winner here, he had his hands all wrung out because he's waiting for his driver to show, and she got here in time to qualify. But that 1 lap, yes, she's running 16th now, but she is in an uphill battle at her first ever dirt start, doing a nice job, trying to learn the line as she goes, missing in the entire practice session this morning.
And Frank told her, nice and steady. Let's just take this race as it comes with no experience on the dirt. This is her first dirt race in her career, let alone being a rookie in the ARCA Racing Series. So she's got a lot to learn here today, and she's got some borrowed elements, honestly, in her safety apparel for this race.
Yeah, they made a phone call to their old snowmobile buddies, the Patrick family, TJ, Patrick, Danica's dad, said, yeah, I've got some equipment, because hers was locked up in the luggage department. Borrowed helmet, borrowed shoes, borrowed Hans.
A lot going on today at Springfield. Don't blink, because the complexion of this race can change in a hurry, and it has. Sheldon Green now, your new leader of this race. Creed, the point leader, to the front of the field in Springfield, Illinois. Chase Purdy in second, a little bit of a slip-up by Zane Smith, who had that lead early.
The track is getting darker, meaning there's rubber being put down on this dirt surface, and Zane Smith got a little bit out of the groove into the what would be gray on a pavement track. that is where the dirt is really loose. It's really soft. It's almost the sand base outside the main groove. Zane drifted up, and through the hole went Logan Seavey, but that didn't last long because Sheldon Green also overpowered him into turn number 3 and took the lead before they came back to the start-finish line on lap 13.
Sheldon Creed and Zane Smith come from off-road families. You can see how sideways that Sheldon Creed gets that 28 car for MDM Motorsports. But where Zane went in off-road racing, they call it the fluff. So Zane Smith got out into the fluff and just lost all sorts of momentum. And so far, Sheldon Creed has flexed his muscle in this race. He was very aggressive to get up to third and then aggressive further beyond that. Here's the pass for the lead. Logan Seavey had it in the 20, and then Creed went right after it. He actually made a little contact just prior to that with that 20 car to get the lead.
Just widen out Seavey's Craftsman Toyota entry into turn 3 enough to get that lead. Just a little nudge. We see a little bit of damage actually on the right front fender of that United Rentals Toyota from that contact.
So Sheldon Creed, 18 laps into this one, with all that dirt experience, leads this one. But Chase Purdy, no experience. He said, honestly, the only dirt I've really ever done is my grandfather has a quarter-mile track in the backyard of their family farm, and he runs some Legends cars on it sometimes.
Pretty modest. He had 3 years of dirt oval experience in the Southeast. Very successful for Chase, but he said that was a lifetime ago. These cars are a whole lot different. One thing in Chase Purdy's camp that's helping him, Austin Terrio. Stranger to the dirt, adapted well for last year's champ. Terrio won a pole in a race on a dirt surface. He said, I'm telling my driver, Chase, let the race car do what it feels like it needs to do and just hang on and get comfortable with it on the dirt surface.
Well, hang on is exactly what Chase Purdy had to do right there. He got up into that fluff that we were talking about, got sideways. That allowed Logan Seavey to get up underneath. But how about this? Chase Purdy, he's a teenager, and he just showed wisdom beyond his years right there by using that slower car to his advantage to pin Logan Seavey behind him and keep that spot.
Tommy Vine, the extreme cleaner number 10 in the middle there, a dirt racer, 53 years young, out of Orange County Fair Speedway in Middletown, New York. Racing just his second ARCA race. It's a lot different on a big mile racetrack than the 5As he's run on for so long.
Zane Smith back to the 4th spot. He was the leader earlier on. Let's take a look at what happened. Right here is where Logan Seavey tries to go to the inside in a battle for second on the racetrack with Chase Purdy. But I love the fact that that 18-year-old was wise enough to pin Seavey behind Tommy Vine.
And Seavey did try to get to where Tommy Vine could bump him off the bottom, but he was not able to do that. Again, Logan Seavey, just his first ARCA Racing Series start. Only one other start in a big, heavy stock car, and that happened to be the Eldora truck race, where he ran the number 51 truck for Cowbush Motorsports. He was very impressive there, and unfortunately, unlike his major midget accomplishments, was not able to move that competitor to where he wanted him to get that clean line off the bottom.
And the report from the MDM team is that Zane Smith just slipped up, but he lost so much ground, went from 1st to 4th in a hurry. You would have thought he might have had something wrong with that race car.
Stretching out a bit here as he's getting in the groove. He's still 4th. Zane Smith is not out of this one.
Sheldon Creed leads here at Springfield. Under caution on lap 26 here in the Allen Crow 100 for the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. Chase Purdy, heartbreaker for him. The number 8 car, the Bama Buggies machine, stopped up in the corner of turn number 3. An unfortunate circumstance for the guy that came into this one 4th in the series standings.
4th on the racetrack too, Bob. They think it might have been the motor, but let's go back a little bit further. This was a great run here. Into the corner went Sheldon Creed. This is the battle for the lead after Zane Smith slipped up. That's the bump and run that Sheldon Creed put on that black number 20 of Logan Seavey. And in came through the number 8 of Purdy to grab second.
And it was an aggressive move. Sheldon told me he needed to capitalize when he could. He certainly did there with a little bump and run on Logan Seavey to put Sheldon Creed out in front of this field. Chase Purdy right here was actually able to move his number 8 machine by the 20 of Logan Seavey into that second spot. But then all of a sudden you can see the fluid from underneath the car. That team with trouble here. Logan Seavey comes onto pit road with Sheldon Creed, Zane Smith, Gustine, everybody else basically in the field. We expected some early race stops here. Track position, so key. And there you see Sheldon Creed come to the stop. His United Rentals team doing service on that race car right now on pit road.
Not a conventional pit road by any means. It's an area in the infield behind the main band stage. Creed, by the virtue of having the owner's point fleet, has primary pit stall selection, but he won't be the first one out after a 4-tire change.
Kelly Kowski.
I see from my vantage point, Gus Dean actually gets off of pit road first with Christian Eckes in second. Remember, these teams have 6 tires on pit lane. They could change 4 now, 2 now, so that definitely could have some consequences here. And there were some different thoughts on strategy in terms of what to do when at each stage of the game.
And with it being such a unique pit road and drivers not having a ton of experience, losing big time, Zane Smith and Logan Seavey well back in that run. They might have got the adjustments they wanted, but they lost 4 or 5 spots each coming down pit road before they exited behind the 32 of Gus Dean.
Let's go to Alex Hayden.
A lot of pit strategy going on down here, guys. We saw some 4-tire changes, especially with the race leader and championship point leader Sheldon Creed. Reason being, he said the car was just too loose in the middle of the corners, but when he got back on the accelerator trying to get off turn 2 and turn 4, he lost the nose, meaning it got too tight on him. So they wanted to go ahead and put 4 new tires on that race car, get him back out, and they hope those new General tires are going to do the trick. Others took right side tires only. They're going to try to save those extra tires for later in the event. Good pitch strategy or bad pitch strategy? We'll find out soon.
That's right, Alex. That's the million-dollar question here today. The Alan Crow 100 at the Illinois State Fairgrounds, live on MAV TV for the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. Right now, Gus Dean started on the pole. He was the General Tire Pole Award winner here today. Well, he's back out front on the Springfield dirt. This one has already been exciting here today in Illinois. Has not disappointed one bit. We'll be right back. Still under caution, 30 laps into this race here at the Illinois State Fairgrounds. The ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards on the dirt for the first time this year. And today we pay tribute to Alan Crow, a former racer, and for such a long time we've been able to honor his name in this event.
Springfield native that really made his cut his teeth on the short tracks in the area of Illinois and Missouri. He went on to fame in stock cars, and then he got a chance to run big cars. He got to race the Indy 500, and unfortunately after the second running of the Indy 500 he was in 1963 that June. Within days of finishing that race, he was taken in a racing accident in New Bremen, Ohio. Crow being the local hero. The stock cars came to this fairgrounds for the first time in 1963, and this race has been called the Alan Crow Memorial 100 since.
The reason why we are under caution, problems underneath the hood, we believe, of the Chase Purdy number 8 machine, that Bama Buggies team with trouble here, and that's going to have some significant effects in the point standings because he came in 4th in the series standings. We want to invite you to make sure that you interact with us during this ARCA Racing Series broadcast. Use the hashtag MAVTV and Motorsports Network. Of course, on Twitter, we're at MAVTV, Facebook as well, and we love interacting with you. I'm at Bob Dillner, at Jim Trado, and how about this? I got to meet Abe Lincoln here today, or the current Abe Lincoln, sort of.
I think those are the correct heights. He was like 6'4", Bob, so you're right in good company with the big tall hat.
That's right. I'm 6'6", and having a fun time at the Illinois State Fair yesterday and today. And of course, last night we got to go over to Macon Speedway, just 40 minutes down the road.
You know, Track Enterprises does such a nice job here for putting these ARCA races on. We had a ball at Macon, Illinois Speedway, just 45 minutes east of here. We had a lot of fun, and it was really cool to see the great racing. And Logan Seavey actually ran the Power Eye Midget race last night and finished top 10.
Yeah, finished in the 6th spot, and Kevin Thomas Jr. actually winning that Power Eye National Midget race at Macon Speedway. And by the way, a great run yesterday by an Illinois driver for the first time in 17 years. An Illinois driver won the Big USAC Silver Crown race here, and that was won by Chris Wyndham.
Yeah, Wyndham started 13th on the grid, ran 4th all day, and just put the button down when he had to and blew past them to win the race. It was pretty cool to see that 100-mile dirt car race here yesterday in preparation for today's big event. I was jacked to get here in time to see the whole thing.
I also want to go to Crawfordsville, Indiana. Ironman Raceway. You can watch it live on MAV TV, the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship Series. That's going to be a blast. I love going to new racetracks, and I'm going to have to try to, just persuade somebody to send me to one of these races at some point. The DuQuoin State Fairgrounds will be there.
Yeah, man.
September 3rd, Labor Day weekend. That's on a Monday. Watch it live here on MAV TV, September 3rd at 4 p.m. Eastern.
The track is similar, but DuQuoin has so many different nuances. They got the pond in the infield, and it does give you a different feel. It's on the fairgrounds. It's during the Southern Illinois State Fair. If you can't join us in person, right out of St. Louis, make sure you're here with us on MAV 4 Eastern next Monday, Labor Day, or 2 Mondays, or 3 Mondays, whatever it is. I'm excited. We're going back dirt racing on Labor Day weekend.
So much happening in the world of the ARCA Racing Series, and of course it was announced earlier this year, the acquisition by NASCAR of ARCA that will take place in 2020, and you can see some of the teams right now down there with the officials and so forth, looking at some of these General Tires, and they've been unbelievable on the dirt the past couple of years that General Tire has been involved with this series. But there's been a lot of questions and a lot of debate of what the schedule would look like in 2019 with the ARCA Racing Series. And we talked to the president of ARCA today, Ron Drager, and he said pretty much the norm in terms of the schedule will look a lot like what it did this year.
Yeah, there's 4 races already announced to add to that stability. Daytona date, Iowa Speedway date, and this morning Ron said that we owe it to our racers, we owe it to Bob Sargent, the promoter of Track Enterprises of these events. We are coming back to Springfield. We're coming back to DuQuoin during their fair in 2019. So these teams know this dirt experience will pay off for them running next year here and knowing those dates are already set.
And if you've never seen it, you need to come here because stock cars on the dirt, it's a bucket list for any racing fan in America. And today our Lucas Oil Production Studio team, led by Scotty Mack, doing a great job. All of the cameramen and women, the entire team, giving us great pictures to tell the stories. We're the lucky guys that get to hang out and just talk about what we see in front of us.
We're sitting on the front row with Christian Eckes and the JBL Audio Toyota on board, but you know what? He took 2 right side tires, and we just caught a glimpse of some of the tires that came off of these cars. Those General Tire grabbers are showing a little blistering. So we'll see how that may play with the 2 tires versus 4 for our front row restarters.
And here's the thing, this track, even with all the rain that this area has gotten over the course of the last couple of weeks, it's going to dry out. And when it dries out, that's when you see some of the tire wear. This track gets very abrasive. We were on the track surface prior to the green flag, and we were already surprised about how hard and how abrasive this track has gotten.
We'll see on this restart, one of my keys, again, getting a good through the gears restart here. We'll see who does it better on the front row.
Christian Eckes, look at this. What a jump that JBL number 15 got to go into the lead. Clear sailing in front of Christian Eckes from his onboard camera. Oh, look at Sheldon Green doing a little bit of lean in right there. Here comes Ryan Unzicker. Ryan Unzicker. What a reaction it would be from the crowd today if that local driver could get his first career ARCA Racing Series win.
Pin that Bill Hendrick 24 to the rail. He looked inside and gave a good look and stayed there to gain position on that restart. Unzicker restarted this restart in the 5th position.
Hey, a great run already by that NOS Energy Drink team for Riley Herbst. There's Gustine battling with Sheldon Green on the racetrack, but we just saw that 18 just moments ago. That 18 for Riley Herbst, 3rd in points coming into this one. He's right behind Unzicker, that number 24 blue machine. Riley actually had to go to the rear of the field, change transmissions prior to the green flag.
And he made up, he got into the 10th position again where he originally qualified. Then we had the caution. He made up 5 positions on pit road when he came to pit road, so this team got him back out 5th, and he's really proving he's got the speed and the ability after 2 okay runs on the dirt last year.
And by the way, just to talk about what we've seen so far here today in that first round of pit stops, and some believe that's going to be the only round of pit stops here today. Sheldon Creed, we knew that he took 4. Well, Gustine, who currently rides 3rd, and the leader, Christian Eckes, both took 2 tires because track position can be so critical. Ryan Unzicker in the top 5 here today. For more on what's going on with some of these teams, let's go down to Alex Hayden. We'll get back to Alex Hayden in just a little while. We continue to watch this battle. Unzicker in that 24, riding in 4th. but he's got a couple of drivers that are gunning for him right now with Riley Herbst and Zane Smith. Remember, Zane Smith started on the front row in that 41, second in points coming into this one. Right now he knows that Sheldon Green is currently running second, having taken over that spot by Gus Dean just the last prior.
They lost 4 spots on the restart, but he's regathered now. Smith in the 41 machine currently rides in 6th position for MDM Motorsports.
Don't look now, but Christian Eckes is going to be in trouble in a second, I believe. That's right, out his rear view mirror. Here comes Sheldon Green. We told you how badly he wants to win here after 2 what he calls failed attempts the prior 2 years.
Well, he was racing with a different team. This is a full-time effort, and I really believe it came down to focus for Sheldon. Last year he ran 7 different divisions of racing. This year, he's done the ARCA Racing Series. He's had a 1 or 2 off with the off-road, and that's it. This kid is dedicated to winning this championship. I think it's a big difference. Also to be paired with a great veteran crew chief like Jeff Stankiewicz, who for 6 seasons came here to this racetrack and the DuQuoin with Frank Kimmel as a crew member.
The ARCA onboard camera for Riley Herbst. Right in front of him is the 7-time Dirt Late Model winner in 2018, Ryan Unzicker. And Unzicker, we mentioned that podium finish a couple of years ago. Look at how close they are to that rail on the inside of the racetrack.
And as hard as Riley's hunting him down, he's learning. Because Unzinger's got the yaw. He's got that rear end just where he wants it to bring it around that railing. Keep the left front off it and keep that right rear right in the groove, inches away with that left front barely dancing the left front headlight on that rail.
And this racetrack, when it dries up, may play into the hands of Ryan Unzicker, because he told me today he was very loose. They left the car that way because as this track dries out, he believes it's going to be tighter and tighter, and that car won't want to turn. But his might be better than anybody else. We'll be right back. Trouble for the man, second place in points coming into this ARCA Racing Series event at the Illinois State Fairgrounds. Zane Smith lost the lead earlier, slipped up the racetrack, and now is on pit road, has lost a couple of laps already. We have a report from that team that the car is overheating.
He was running within top 5, and here he is on the outside running with Logan Seavey. Seavey showed inside, got the position, and Zane got up a little too high, and all this run in the gray, in this fluff, got his grill packed with dirt.
And we saw it earlier today, and the teams were really talking about this. We talked about the grill screens that these teams have manufactured. Zane Smith was kind of moving out of the way, but when he got those right side tires up there, he just went further up the racetrack. But the teams couldn't believe, with the wet nature that Springfield, Illinois has had over the last week or so, this track is different, and it was picking up a lot more dirt than they've been used to in the past.
Christian Eckes has had no issues with the nose of his number 15 JBL Toyota since he took the lead on the lap 34 restart. Notice his grill is different than most. He's got a longer section between the headlights down to the front bumper. There's actually 2 panels.
Tommy Vi Jr., I see him spun on the racetrack, and that will bring out the yellow flag just 2 laps prior to the halfway point.
Get a report that the driver 8, Chase Purdy, has been examined and released, and they feel that an oil line caused the issue, not the motor going away.
Bad break for Tommy Vi on the Springfield dirt here today. Christian Eckes still your leader over Sheldon Green and Gus Dean. A lot of racing still to go. Several drivers pitting during this caution on the racetrack here for the Allen Crow 100 at the Illinois State Fairgrounds. Among them, the leader of the race prior to going to this yellow flag period. Christian Eckes came down pit road. Remember, changed 2 tires on the first stop, but that team felt like they needed to come down pit road once again.
And they were very fortunate they did. As he left, his crew chief, thanks to Racing Electronics, I dropped in on their radio chatter. Crew chief Kevin Reed said, we chunked the right rear pretty good. Now, considering they changed that tire not too long ago, lap 25 is when they all came down pit road. Now we're 25 laps later, and they had a tire issue with the tire they had put on the car fresh at lap 25.
Well, let's take a look at the race recap here. Gus Dean, with his 2nd consecutive pole, led the field to the green flag.
But Zane Smith had that lead on the outside and expanded that lead. Gus Dean, again, the General Tire pole sitter for the 2nd straight race. Smith pulled away. Logan Seavey making his debut at Venturini Motorsports in the black number 20, also a factor throughout thus far. There was Sheldon Green forcing the issue to get the lead away from the youngster in the 20.
There's Chase Purdy moving underneath the 20 of Logan Seavey as well. Sheldon Green checked out for just a little while. Restarts were very interesting here. 2-tire stop for both Gus Dean and Christian Eckes on the front row for that restart. They went to the front of the field, but then slowly and steadily, the 28 made his presence felt. Here, the 41 of Zane Smith overheating on that race car. The guy second in points coming into this one had to come down pit road.
And we saw the lead expand by Christian Eckes, but that was at a price. The right rear tire was really taking a lot of abuse.
The DuPont Protect Plus mid-race recap, 4 leaders so far in this one. Still a good chunk of this race to go. And we've had a couple of cautions so far in this one, but not nearly as hairy as we thought it might have been with some of the inexperience in terms of some of these drivers on dirt.
And the 32 of Gus Dean, who also had the 2-tire strategy, stayed out on the racetrack. It helped him at Oco win his first race this year, changing 4 tires very late in the going on that small 3/8 paved track in Minnesota.
And Kevin Sawinski and Jamie Jones and that team kind of talked about that strategy a little bit. Can they stay out later, come and take tires late when everybody is out of grip? So it'll be interesting to watch. But then we learned, you just talked about Christian Eckes had taken 2 tires like Gus Dean, came down pit road, and that right rear tire had a lot of wear on it. So can Gus Dean hold on? A lot of questions still to be answered.
And the pace is going to pick up right here. Sheldon Creed's going to force the issue from the front. Dean on older left side tires. They've been on for all 51 laps of this race. Creed's working lap 26 on his 4 fresh General Tire Bias ply grabber tires.
A nice slow pace for the green flag here. Halfway through the Allen Crow 100. And you can see right there, 2 tires already hurting Gus Dean, plus being on that outside groove. He loses the second spot. Look at the block thrown by Riley Herbst.
Herbst to the inside. This is his third start here in ARCA on the dirt. Last year ran a full campaign, winning the Scott Rookie of the Year. He learned the hard way that going inside turn number 3 last year, a big accident in this event about this time in the race on a restart. So Riley certainly improving greatly with Shannon Rush, his crew chief last year, spotting and car chiefing today with Booty Barker, his first time on the dirt, crew chiefing an ARCA car here.
You know, and Riley Herbst actually got some pointers today. I walked into the hauler to see him, and Justin Allgaier, a former winner here in ARCA, was in there talking to him, and talking to him about 2 things. First of all, you need patience, okay, and that's very key, but you also need to protect, and that's exactly what Riley did there, closing the door to occupy that spot to keep Justin behind.
That bright blue number 24, RJR Transportation Toyota of El Paso, Illinois, Ryan Unziger, becoming a factor. He may have forced that maneuver because he's shown the inside is where he wants to advance. He's doing a great job now. He got a great restart and got ahead of that white number 27 Ford of Travis Brayton, the West Virginian, in his first dirt start, doing a nice job. But Unziger, a better restart. Now he has the track position. Now he can move forward.
And here comes Eckes, fresh off that tire change. Remember, took 2 tires first, came into pit road just a couple of laps ago, and now Christian Eckes really moving through the field all the way up to 7th.
Passing 4 cars since our restart here under the second caution. Nice job by Eckes. Great views as well, that not only the carousel, but how close these cars are running around this 1 mile dirt oval.
Eckes, a winner at Five Flags Speedway in the famed Snowball Derby 2 years ago. Really put him on the map. Now one of those TRD development drivers. A winner earlier this year at Salem for his first time in his career in ARCA racing.
Yeah, and he was really looking forward to this dirt race. He said, man, I can't wait to get back at it. I said, what did you do since last year? Because he only ran Springfield, not 2 coin. He said, just been waiting, trying to figure out what I need to do. I think I'm ready to tackle this dirt. And he said his qualifying lap did not show the true speed of this number 15 Toyota Prevent 340 Sports.
Travis Brayton, right now he comes into this one battling in the top 5 in the point standings. Travis Brayton, his first time on the dirt. He said it's been a whole new learning experience here today at Springfield, Illinois. Travis Brayton, 5th in points coming into this one. Gets a little loose coming off the corner. It's going to get good in a hurry here at Springfield. The The Allen Crow 100 for the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards at the Illinois State Fairgrounds. The tradition continues. The fair, the fun, and a lot of good old dirt track racing with stock cars on a mild dirt track. Let's go to Alex Hayden.
Well, guys, we were talking a little earlier about the blistering as Sheldon Creed, the championship point leader, was leading the race earlier. The blistering on the tires, well, ARCA got involved in that. They issued him brand new Grabber General tires, and Sheldon Creed, as a matter of fact, is going to come down the pit lane right now. He said the car was too tight. He said that means the damage on the right front of the corner as well was creating all kinds of issues for him. Here's Sheldon Creed. He's in. They're going to change the right side tires. It was the left sides that were brand new that ARCA approved through General Tire to give to Sheldon Creed, your championship point leader. They are, in fact, going to go ahead and change all 4 of these Grabber General tires and get him back on the track. It looks like Riley Herbst is going to do 4. Natalie Decker is going to do 4 fresh tires, but easily, as you see, it's Sheldon Creed getting off the pit lane first.
So Sheldon Creed with a good pit stop right there. Definitely interesting strategy here in terms of when to pit and what tires to take. So Sheldon Creed comes off a pit road, but I believe that will give Christian Eckes with that JBL team for Venturini Motorsports the lead back here at lap 60 of 100 at Springfield. So a lot of interesting things shaking down. We're under caution because Brian Doe's actually spun up in between turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, he spun and continued, came down pit road, got a check over. The 41 of Zane Smith is going to stay in the pits, it looks like. Huge implications.
Wow, the day goes from bad to worse for Zane Smith. We'll update that when we come back here to the Illinois State Fairgrounds for the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. Major championship implications today for the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards at the Illinois State Fairgrounds. The driver, second place in points coming into this one, is out of the race. 18-year-old Zane Smith, a retiree here. All that while Sheldon Creed battles for another victory here in the ARCA Racing Series. Let's go down to Alex Hayden.
Well, Bob, obviously a disappointed Zane Smith. Talking to you far too soon back here behind the wall. What ultimately put you out?
We just kept overheating there. And then, once I was a little bit in traffic, my water temp gauge was all the way pegged out. And it just, no matter how many times we cooled it down, it would just immediately go back to like 260, 300. And it was just about to blow up. I was lacking so much straightaway speed, so I couldn't pass anyone. It was just unfortunate just because we were already set back in the championship. Now it's kind of to a new level.
Unfortunately, the championship obviously is an issue. You mentioned that, and you're not so sure about that. Do you feel like now it's out of reach, the championship?
Just about, if so, yeah.
All right, unfortunately, Zane Smith, disappointed, out of the race, overheating, and that is part of the problem with racing on the dirt.
Coming into this race, 165 points separated Sheldon Creed from Zane Smith. So Zane Smith alluded to the fact that he thinks the championship battle is over. What are your thoughts, Jim?
He is going to be no better than 17th in this race, 5 points per position. It is done. You'll have to have a really, really strange turn of events for Sheldon Creed to fail in these final 5 races to have any chance to win a championship here in ARCA in 2018. But Zane Smith's determined. This kid's fast everywhere. He's going to bounce back after this. He's going to work at DuQuoin. Hey, the kid qualified front row here, first time on a dirt track. He's got a lot of talent, so we'll hope to see Zane run up front for the remainder. I think he's got 2 or 3 more wins in the season on him.
Back to Green on the dirt, and how about that for an unlikely front row for this restart late in the race. Christian Eckes and Travis Brayton, but a little nudge by Logan Seavey in that Craftsman number 20, and here comes Seavey. Oh, look at that, almost 3 wide. Sheldon Creed thought about it.
Creed needs a room to run. He needs a lane, and Seavey's on the bottom right now, so Creed has made the choice to tuck it in below the number 27 of Travis Brayton. Brayton learned a lot on that restart. Get in line right away. He learned that at the expense of a position on the prior restart where Ryan Hunziker able to sneak in front of him in that Ford number 27. Brayton running for the team that won here just 3 years ago with driver A.J. Fike. That team has remained intact. Brayton in that 27. Matrix Care Ford hanging out of that spotter. Is he?
Oh, hold on, Travis Brayton. Travis Brayton, the Winchester 400 winner a couple of years ago on the high banks up there at that Indiana racetrack. Man, he got nervous in a hurry.
You know, he just got past, so he's trying to regather, trying to stay in line, trying to gain position, gain composure. And I don't know, Bob. It really looked scary there for a minute. I'm glad he saved it.
Hey, how about that guy right behind him right now? Kelly Kopsky in the number 16. A great story there, but first let's take a look at Travis Brayton. Looks like he got up there on that loose stuff just outside of the groove with that right rear tire.
Experience pace here. Creed moved to the inside. Same thing happened to Zane Smith. The inside position was taken. The inexperienced driver, Zane Smith, now Travis Brayton, not knowing enough to stay right next to the driver on the inside, and just a little bit up on the racetrack cost him dearly.
How about Natalie Decker? Natalie Decker up to 6th, and I was talking about her lack of dirt oval experience a little earlier on the show. She actually has run on the dirt earlier in her career, but it wasn't on an oval racetrack. So Natalie Decker, after not having any practice, getting out on the racetrack and getting here just prior to qualifying, she is now running in the 6th spot. That's a great day, and she's being led by the eight-time winner here at this racetrack, a former champion in ARCA 10 times over, Frank Kimmel, her crew chief.
Yeah, she's doing a really nice job staying within her means. Would I say that because Riley Herbst really got to her rear bumper, made her change her line. She gave up that one spot, but she's now going to follow Herbst, who has that experience here from the last 2 races from a season ago. So the 25 of Decker now leading to 52. Boy, you talk about a driver learning as we go. I'd say that's a nice run by Brett Holmes, the dirt track late model racer.
Yeah.
Now in his 3rd full-time season in the ARCA Racing Series. First time on the dirt with Coroner Kenny Schrader here, watching closely.
I put my hand on his shoulder and I said, Brett, this is just like the old Mississippi Challenge Series days in the dirt late model racing. And he said, not exactly. These cars handle a little bit differently, but Brett Holmes having a good run. Natalie Decker, the biggest mover and shaker so far in this race, up 11 spots. Travis Brayton up 7 spots. So both of those drivers having what I believe will be a very good run for them in their own terms.
Our race leader, Christian Eckes, up 7 spots from his initial starting position, but this is now the 2nd time he's taken the lead in this race. By lap 34, he was up front in that number 15 machine. So there's a lot of things yet to come, but it's now to the point. Okay, have we done our final pit stops? Creed has had those additional tires allotted to his team, but I think the pace being set here may cause some of these drivers to get a little more aggressive than they want to be 30 laps from the finish.
Yeah, less than 30 laps to go now. Ryan Unzicker, by the way, in the 24. He was up in the top 5 a little earlier, riding back in 9th in that blue number 24.
And here he goes, tucking in on the backside of the 52 machine, that blue 24 of Unzicker we're talking about.
Christian Eckes out in front of the field. Different pitch strategy than Sheldon Creed. Creed pitted later than him, took on those 4 tires. Can Sheldon Creed catch him here today at the Illinois State Fairgrounds? When we went to caution, the difference between Christian Eckes and Sheldon Creed was 1.4 seconds, and it's evaporated completely. But it's also evaporated because now we're under caution for Brian Doza, who spins again up in turn number 4. So just as we're about to talk about the battle for the lead, getting really good here at the Illinois State Fairgrounds, the caution comes out. Christian Eckes with a little older tires than Sheldon Creed. So much playing out here today at the Springfield Mile. Let's go to Alex Hayden.
Bob, you mentioned the different tire strategies that are being played out. Well, the race leader, Christian Eckes, in the box, all they have left as far as brand new sticker tires are left side tires. Logan Seavey, same type of situation. Brand new sticker tires. That's what you want down here, especially late in the race, but they're left side only. However, they're going to take whatever advantage that they can get here in the closing laps.
And here's the interesting thing. Will the left side tires really come into play? It depends on what your car is doing, because if you put on the left side tires, you know, it might give you a little better grip up off the corner, but it depends on the handling characteristics for Christian Eckes and where a caution may fly in the last stages of this race.
You really have to guess what these last 23 laps will do. Do you want to raise your tire pressures on the left-hand side? Do you want to quickly measure the right side tire pressures, what they grew to? And you see the number 15 of Christian Eckes and the 28 of Sheldon Creed, searching for moisture, searching to cool down the tread of their General Tire Grabber tires. That's why they're out of the racing line right now. On an oval track, when it comes to pavement, you want to be on the clean part of the track. But this is a maneuver, long-time tradition. If you're just watching dirt racing and you come across like, hey, those are big stock cars on the, why are they running outside the groove? Under caution, they're trying to get their tires cooled off by racing in those areas where there's softer, cooler dirt.
And we saw that in yesterday's USAC Silver Crown race here at the Springfield Mile as well. Brett Holmes in the 52 has peeled off and gone to pit road. Natalie Decker there in the number 25 machine. She's had an interesting day. Arrived after missing, actually having a flight canceled last night. She arrived just moments before qualifying here today and has never raced in the ARCA Racing Series on the dirt. We'll be right back. One of the keys to this race could come into play right now. Jim Trado talked about it earlier. Gaining spots on the restarts. And now a restart inside 20 laps to go with Christian Eckes and Sheldon Creed on the front row.
Control car on the inside. Creed's team reminding him you need to get a clean start and do everything you possibly can to get ahead of the 15 by turn 1. Won't do it.
Eckes gets the spot. A very good restart for that teenager. But here comes Sheldon Creed. Remember, he wants this win bad. Came close in the last 2 years here. Look at the battle just behind that as well for third. Riley Herbst, Travis Brayton in the 27, and Logan Seavey in the Craftsman 20.
Riley Herbst listening to everything being told by Justin Allgaier, Springfield, Illinois native, trying to get position in. Now he's going to lose a bunch. Way too hard into turn 3 and going around.
Herbst loops it up there in the corner. That will bring out the caution flag once again. Joe Cooksey involved in that number 3, as is the 57 of Brian Doza. I talked to Riley Herbst, you did as well, and last year was just a tough deal for him, a big wreck. But here he's pushing it hard, goes to the outside, kind of follows the line that Travis Brayton was doing, and just over-rotates it up in the fluff, in that loose stuff in the corner, and spins it out.
Sheer momentum, Bob, really got him in that position. He had a great move to get inside position, entering the corner, but momentum carried him outside of where he wanted to be, up into the loose, and that spun him around. No contact made by any of the 3 cars involved.
You know that Riley Herbst is just frustrated inside the cockpit of that number 18 car, a driver for Joe Gibbs Racing. Has made a couple of NASCAR starts this year as well. He's
hopped in the truck on Wednesday.
Yeah, 19 years old.
GGR Crosley, yeah.
Out of Las Vegas, Nevada, being groomed for the top leagues of NASCAR. Still doesn't know exactly what he's going to do next year. A lot of talk about him running the super speedway schedule of the ARCA Racing Series, and maybe we'll see Ty Gibbs maybe run some of the short tracks for Joe Gibbs Racing. No announcements yet, but a lot of talk, and that would be really cool to see.
Yeah, Ty Gibbs is the son of Coy Gibbs, grandson of Coach Joe Gibbs, and that team, this ARCA team's at the Joe Gibbs campus, and along with that is a car that Ty Gibbs has been testing, not racing, at ovals, short tracks, so Ty's getting more experience at just 15 years of age to get comfortable with these bigger, heavier cars than he's used to.
You know, last year, Riley Herbst actually left this racetrack, and he said, I just do not like Springfield. And I asked him, I said, do you still have that same thought? And he said, honestly, no. He said, it was all me. He said, I was the reason, you know, for what happened last year, and I think I've learned a lot more. And unfortunately, something happens to him here late in the going, and that's going to cost him, because remember, he comes in third in points, a large margin behind second place in the point standings, and he had a chance to gain a little bit here today by virtue of Zane Smith having some difficulty. Right now, Riley Herbst's going to be able to restart this race, but you know, Riley's 415 points out of the lead coming into this one.
He still has a chance, Bob. He's going to make a ton of points up on Zane Smith. If you're just joining us, the driver's second in points, qualified front row in his dirt debut, but really clogged the grill, and it cost him. He's out of the race. He'll be listed no better in the 40-0 machine than 17th on the day. Right now, still on lead lap is Riley Herbst after that spin. So I think he'll still have a gain, but that pressure was, how much can I gain on Zane Smith? That might have cost the overdriving into that corner.
Unzicker in that 24 car, way up on the top side of the racetrack, trying to cool those tires down. Sheldon Creed has been up there. In fact, he's still up there in that 28 car. We've seen the JBL team for Christian Eckes go up there just a little bit. Even Gus Dean, the South Carolina native, up there as well. The only thing that he's done on dirt is a bunch of kart racing earlier in his career. But Gus Dean winning his second consecutive General Tire Pole Award in ARCA competition that came here today.
You know, the great thing about the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards is the ability for teams to get a car and race where they'd like to and be really competitive. Unzicker being the most recent example. 2 top 5s just 2 seasons ago, and in contention last year until a caution running top 5 took him out.
Hey, Alex Hayden, what do you think about Christian Eckes right now? Does he have enough to hold on?
Bob, I absolutely think he does, and I think he's very determined because they've had an up and down race to this point. The car's been all over the place, from the tight side to the loose side, meaning no front grip and then no rear grip, depending on how they are with the tire strategy. You guys have documented it all race long. They've been basically on their own strategy when it comes to these grabber general tires down here, and so far it's worked out well, and you've got a very determined young man behind the wheel.
Yeah, he's had a couple of outings the last few for Christian Eckes, and he's been bummed about that a little bit, especially after winning at Salem earlier this year. He thought once he got the first, in the books, his first ARCA win, more would come a little bit easier, and it hasn't been that way for this part-time competitor this year. He, too, has actually made starts in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series this year.
Yeah, and another driver showing brightly for the Toyota camp is the 20 of Logan Seavey. That young man drives a sprint car wing and non-wing for Chase Briscoe, former ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards champion. He probably talked to Chase ad nauseum about big cars late in the race. What do we do? I think that racecraft will come to play, as well as the 24 of Ryan Hunsinger and the 16 of Kelly Kofsky. What a great story that is for a native of this area to be back behind the wheel, much less at a racetrack, period.
Well, let's think about it. He was the crew chief for Grant Enfinger, who actually won this race 1 year ago, and Kelly Kofsky was injured at Volusia a couple of years ago. He was there as a fan, and they had a mishap, and he was injured. Well, this is the first time he's back behind the wheel in an ARCA race car. He hasn't run ARCA in the last couple of years, but does have some success. He's run some modified races this year, in fact 4 of them, but he was really looking forward to coming back and running here at the Springfield Mile.
And to make this story even more compelling is the Allgaier family has him employed. He works there every day. He works his brains out to get an opportunity like this. Justin came here to support him. Mike Allgaier is here to support him. And this young man had every one of his ribs broken on the left side. He had a punctured lung. He now has rods in his back holding things together for this young driver. I say young because Kelly has the determination and the experience here to be a factor now. He said, I think I've got too much rust. He told me right after he qualified, I said, I got to knock the rust off. It's going to take me a while, but I need to be in contention. I know I need to keep pace. And his crew chief today, Grant Enfinger, ran that expiring race and won that race last year for Kelly. Now he's here to support one of his best friends here starting inside row 3 on this restart.
The camaraderie here in the ARCA pits is unlike any other, and that's certainly shown with that Allgaier Motorsports team with Kelly Kofsky and Grant Enfinger here today. All right, here we go. This should be interesting. Sheldon Creed is hungry, but so is Christian Eckes. The restart with 14 to go. Look at Logan Seavey. Here comes Seavey. A lot of bumping and banging right there.
Seavey got the move. He made the inside his by getting Creed up the racetrack, and Creed's going to hang on for dear life here in the white 28.
Seavey's got the spot. Sheldon Creed trying to go back to the bottom of the racetrack. Puts the bumper to the 20, just barely going into the corner. Seavey up to second. Seavey, one of those Toyota Racing Development drivers, doing well here in his first ARCA start. He'll also run DeCoin in just a couple of weeks.
And the experience is paying off for him and this team, albeit new to this series. His crew chief is Dave Liner. He won and finished second just 2 seasons ago on the dirt in ARCA with driver Tom Hessert in the Venturini camp. So this team very much proven that Seavey's racing for today in the number 20 Craftsman Toyota.
Unzicker in the blue 24 under fire from Travis Brayton. Brayton's been able to hold on. He's been sideways all over this racetrack, but having a great run. Travis Brayton in that 5th spot. He's hoping to get the 4th and tie at least his best finish of the year, which came at Pocono.
Give credit to his crew chief, Dan Gloss, longtime runner here. He was in victory lane with AJ Fike just a few years ago. Travis said, I just need to get this car where I want to be comfortable. He said, it drives so much different than a pavement car. I've just got to learn to adjust and not overdrive it. He said, I want to work on my middle to corner exit speed. We saw him nearly lose it off corner exit. He's learning a lot today in the 27 machine to stay in contention.
This time by 10 laps to go. Eckes up front, trying to hold off Logan Seavey. Seavey may be playing a little bit of the patient game earlier on in this race because he is charging hard right now when it counts.
Not afraid to use the front bumper, teammate or no teammate, and Eckes had this very situation arise at Salem Speedway with his teammate right on his tail in the closing moments, and Eckes was able to close that deal over his teammate at that time, Chandler Smith, in the Venturini Motorsports camp.
You know, Christian Eckes has so much pressure on him right now. He's not a dirt racer. This is only the 2nd time he's run on dirt, and he's got a pair of dirt veterans behind him. Sheldon Green, a veteran on the off-road ranks. The 2014 Lucas Oil Off-Road Racing Series Pro Light Champion. And then, of course, all the success in the open wheel ranks and the midgets for Logan Seavey, both in the USAC world and the Power Eye world. Those guys know a thing or two about dirt. Christian Eckes is just a novice.
Let's see what these drivers have left. We talked about the tire strategy. It's just down to what do you have left in the tank, whether it be ability, whether it be to stay on the bottom. On Riley Herbst's case, he's got fresher tires on the 52 machine, but the 52 pitted for left sides just in the last pit stop. As I say that, I'm thinking, wait a minute, we're all over the map today. There was no set tradition of, okay, 2 tires, 4 tires. These teams are all over that strategy, and a great job by Donnie Richardson and the team on the 52 to get Brett Holmes back in contention. This is the battle for 7th.
That's part of what I love about the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards on the dirt. Good hard racing, plenty of strategy, a lot of talent. It takes a lot for the drivers to wheel these stock cars around a mile dirt track, and they're doing it well here today. Herb's currently running in 8th, so rebounding nicely after that spin a few laps ago. Eckes, Seavey, Green up front, Unticker in 4th. Travis Brayton holds on to that 5th spot. Logan Seavey has just not been able to gather up Christian Eckes, and quite honestly, I am pretty surprised. 2 wins in the USAC National Midget Ranks and 3 wins in the Power Eye National Midget Ranks this year for Logan Seavey.
And he raced on the 5th mile Macon Speedway last night in a Power Eye points race. Great racing, close competition. He said the track just didn't get wide enough for me to make my moves. He finished 8th. But here today, he's been able to search. He's been able to use that front bumper to gain position. Now he's losing a 10th a lap, it appears, to our race leader late in the going here.
Seavey put on a show last night at Macon Speedway because of the point structure in terms of passing points. He started deep in the field and came up to finish 6th. Sheldon Green, remember, we told you the desire for him to win here. After 2 good finishes the last 2 years, wanted nothing but a win, but now rides in 3rd, the point leader, with just 5 laps to go here in the Allen Crow 100.
His car has been flying. You see just the nose, how high it is on the straightaways. It's a softer setup. It's not tied to the racetrack as you'll see on a traditional oval. And that damage on the right front fender came early as he grabbed the lead with aggression on lap 13 already. We'll see if he has anything left here. They're spaced out now, but it may be the last time to recharge and regather for a run to the front.
Here's the interesting thing about Christian Eckes. He grew up just minutes from Orange County Fair Speedway in Middletown, New York. Never had the desire to honestly run the dirt, but he went to some races there. And now he's on the dirt here, on the higher levels of racing, trying to go after the victory. And not only go after the win, Jim, but hold off 2 very savvy drivers on the dirt in Logan Seavey and Sheldon Green.
He is running a perfect race right now, Bob. He's got 1 lap car ahead of him. He'll clear him on the straightaway. Perfect opportunity. Get on that Ford of Brad Smith. Stays low. That's an opportune place to have a car to pass on the exit of the corner to stay on full speed.
Brad Smith, 10th in points coming into this race, 14th on the racetrack.
Oh boy, it's getting close now. Looks like maybe a better, straighter run by the 20 car is the difference here as he closes the gap down his teammate.
Listen, it's go time, and Logan Seavey knows it. 21 years old, trying to win in his first ARCA start. He is charging hard, but the problem is when you charge in hard on the entrance of the corner, sometimes you suffer on the exit.
A little less tail happy on the 20 car, though. He's closing the gap again, Bob.
2 laps to go, and we got a yellow flag. A lot of cars involved in a mishap up in turns 1 and 2. Tommy Vi Jr. in the 10 among them, as well as Brian Doza. So the caution flies, I think, just when Christian Eckes did not want to see it. I don't know. It would have been interesting in the final 2 laps, but I believe that Christian Eckes had built the rhythm, had built the just confidence to do what he needed to do in the final 2 laps, but now he's got a restart to deal with.
And those cars are battling for 12th position, hanging on. Really, it's at the point now where you are hanging on. Seavey has saved something. We saw him close that gap. Now he'll have a restart. The leader of the race decides and determines. They get the choice. Which lane do you want to restart in, the inside or outside row?
You're going inside here.
Been working so far for Eckes.
I mean, at Springfield, I think that's just what you need to do. A lot of people compare this track when it dries up past the halfway point to honestly like a paved track. And a lot of people talked about the comparison of this racetrack on the dirt when it's all dried up to New Hampshire Motor Speedway. And Christian Eckes and those guys, they spend a lot of time on the simulator for Toyota. They know a thing or two about New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Christian Eckes trying to hold on for his second career ARCA win, his second this year, but his first and only his second attempt on the dirt.
And Eckes has had a really, really strong run. He's embracing what he's able to learn here in the ARCA Racing Series. Yes, he has a 4-race truck deal with Kyle Busch Motorsports in the middle of that right now. But his focus and his ability to race with Kevin Reed in this team and be fast everywhere he goes, it's been a pleasure to watch. And look at the nose here, Bob. I want to point out that there's 2 sections here. They actually were allowed anywhere between the headlights to add additional spacing for ventilation. That top piece is what is ventilating the radiator. The bottom portion is all taped up. There's one fine piece of screen over it, but it's almost taped to the top of that lower section. So this unique layout, crew chief Kevin Reed has been here enough. He was with Sheldon Green last year, almost won this race. That setup could be the key now. Keeping it clean, but also having the right ventilation above the bumper on that Toyota.
And remember, a couple of the MDM teams had trouble here today. Both Chase Purdy, done for the day. Zane Smith, second in points, done for the day as well, overheating issues. So I'm sure a lot of people, and you can see that same grill setup, that same screen setup on the 20 of Logan Seavey for Venturini Motorsports. I guarantee you there's going to be a lot of people paying attention to what they did today to keep those cars cool in comparison to some of the other teams. We're now at the lap 100 mark, so we go into overtime here with the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards.
Always end the race under green flag conditions. If we see the green flag, the next flag, if it's white, doesn't mean the race is over. We have to get that last lap completed under green to get the checker.
So what do you think? Do you think we go just green the rest of the way, or might there be another mishap? That is the big question right now, because you're going to have a lot of antsy drivers with a lot of emotion. Will we see another caution in this one?
We're going to get a green, then a white, then a checker. So we have 2 laps of drag racing around this 1 mile oval.
And now Kevin Reed, I'm sure, telling his driver, the crew chief on the 15, telling Christian Eckes, get up there in the brown, cool off those tires a little bit. You see Seavey in the 20, put the right side of his tires up there. So, of course, a little bit depends on how the car is handling for you, whether you want to cool all 4 or just 2.
You know what? I'd say cool everything down as possible because at this point, that restart will be everything. Getting in the corner first, Eckes has done a masterful job at that on the restarts, out-dueling Sheldon Green on the last restart to get that point. Seavey followed him through on the bottom, so you have to really protect. If you are in the second position on the restart on the outside, Bob, that guy on the inside row too, you need to make sure you know where he is and try to get in front of him if you can't get the lead clear into turn 1.
The point leader, Sheldon Green, currently riding 3rd. Just behind him, though, Unzicker. Don't count him out. He finished 3rd here 2 years ago. So a lot of players still involved in this one. One player that's not in this race that we expected to have a very good day today, Will Kimmel, had an engine let go earlier today and was not able to start. The Kimmels, of course, very important in the history and the laurels of the ARCA family.
Yeah, he brought a bunch of people here from Fast Diesel Fuel Systems, and Laramie Jewelers has supported him here just at Springfield. He's got a lot of support, but that engine went sour during the practice session, was not able to qualify, and packed it in. He was really, really dejected.
I'm sure he'll be back at DeCoin, where he actually set the General Tire fast time last year at that Illinois racetrack. And there you see some of the speedy dry going around the racetrack. Unfortunately, under caution here late in the going, we're in overtime. More than 100 laps already complete. We'll have a green-white checker finish. And we still have a lot of good racing to come on the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. The next stop at Berlin Raceway. Yes, that circular racetrack up in Michigan. And then we'll be live on September 3rd at DeCoin State Fairgrounds in Illinois. Of course, the second race on the dirt for ARCA in this year.
And Lucas Oil Raceway in Indianapolis, Brownsburg, just west of the big track. We're going racing on Friday night of Brickyard Weekend, the Shore Lunch 200. I'm looking forward to that. Really, really. It's a cool place, Everybody said, man, we want to see more stock car racing here. Here's your chance. Friday night, September 7th, to join us on MAV TV for live racing from Lucas Oil Raceway.
The penultimate race of this season at Salem Speedway. That'll be the final race on MAV TV, and that's where we will crown the Sioux Chief Short Track Challenge champion. Last year, Austin Terrio got it done.
Yeah, only one more race after that on the big track at Kansas Speedway. So these are critical moments. We see a lot of point swings going on. We see the top 5 in owners' points. They're not separated by much. I mean, the 15 car, with Michael South winning the races he has, they are currently in the 4th position in the owners' points. Actually down to 3rd. He was actually as high as 2nd. So this team looking to gain some serious points, sitting 3rd in the owners' points with just a handful of races left.
Want to make sure you watch the Ironman Raceway event for the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship in Indiana, August 25th at 1 p.m. That is next week on MAV TV. You're not going to want to miss that because a lot is on the line. Who will be the true Ironman? We'll find out next week.
And Hunziker not trying to get an advantage here. He's just trying to get as cool as possible, go where they ain't, to get those tires cooled off, to get back in line to restart this race in 4th. I expect him to make a dramatic move. He's been to the rail by turn 1 the last 4 restarts in that blue 24.
You want drama? You got it here at the Illinois State Fairgrounds today for the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. A green-white checker finish. Can Christian Eckes, with very little dirt experience, hold on to win? He leads the field with that JBL number 15, but the savvy open wheeler alongside of him in the Craftsman number 20, that is Logan Seavey. And just behind that, a lot of dirt experience in the 2nd row. Sheldon Green, the off-road racer converted to the oval track scene, rides in 3rd. He's the point leader. And Ryan Unziker, hoping to add another victory to his resume that includes 7 dirt late model wins in 2018. A nice slow pace for Christian Eckes. It paid off for him last restart. Let's find out what happens this time. How about that? The 17-year-old with a nice smooth restart. Seavey's there, but this may be exactly what the doctor ordered for Christian Eckes, because here comes Sheldon Green trying to get into 2nd on the inside.
Just a little bit of nudge on corner exit when the car is as free as it can be. The 20 car of Seavey has to fall in line and give up the spot to the 28 of Creed.
Sheldon Green now has 1 lap to go to catch and try to pass Christian Eckes to get the win. He's come close here. The last 2 years, has he run out of time?
He'll have to make a move going to turn 3 if he has any chance, and Eckes has a big enough gap off the exit of 2 here.
Creed is catching him, but will it be enough time? They head into turn number 3.
Creed sailed it in there for all it's worth. I tell you, there's not much braking going on there.
He ain't gonna do it. He's not gonna do it unless Christian Eckes slips up. It doesn't look like he's going to. He never thought he was a dirt racer, and today Christian Eckes wins on the dirt here at Springfield. 2nd career win, 2nd this year for the JBL Venturini Motorsports team of Christian Eckes. How about that? The kid from New York with another victory. And I can't wait to see that smile. It'll be a mile wide in victory lane today.
If he had any nerves this morning, he certainly was masking them because he was just saying, I'm chilling, I'm working on my deal. Really laid back. Great win for Eckes.
A lot of emotion today, I'm sure, for that Venturini Motorsports. Let's go to Alex Hayden.
Here is the winning crew chief, and congratulations. And what a job by your driver, especially with that many restarts in the closing.
Man, it's, the 15 car guys have been awesome all year long. And just to come here today, Christian struggled a little bit in practice, but we sit down and talk about it and he figured it out and done a heck of a job today. And just have 3 cars there in the top 9 for Venturini Motorsports, pretty good feat for all of us, but we're just working hard to get ready for the end of the year here. We're going to be strong and just trying to make a run back at Sheldon on that championship for the car owners part of it.
Congratulations. That's Kevin Reed, winning crew chief, and the guy jumping on his back there, well, that was Billy Venturini, the car owner.
Christian Eckes doing donuts here up in the corner. A little easier to do donuts on the dirt than it is on the pavement. He'll climb out in victory lane here, triumphant. Get the checkered flag and do a backwards victory lap today on the Springfield dirt. This is his tradition now. Of course, this was started by the late Alan Kowicki so many years ago in the NASCAR Cup Series. And today, Alan Kowicki's tradition is being honored by Christian Eckes with that backwards victory lap.
Yeah, Alan said I wanted to have something that people remember me by after my first win. I don't think this is one of many memorable moments in the win column for Christian Eckes here today.
A great future to come for Christian Eckes. We'll hear from him in a moment.